A father's heartbreak, Rabbi Leo D's emotional farewell to his two daughters shot dead in the West Bank. British-born sisters Maya and Rina were buried in a joint funeral after a surge in violence between Israelis and Palestinians. Also tonight, the Health Secretary attacks junior doctors' militant stance ahead of next week's strikes. Pope Francis prays for peace for the beloved people of Ukraine in his Easter Mass, and a late Liverpool goal costs Arsenal crucial points in the race for the Premier League title.
This is ITV News with Romilly Weeks.
Good evening. The father of two murdered sisters has paid an emotional tribute to his beautiful, smart, popular girls at their funeral in the West Bank today. Through tears, British-born Rabbi Leo D said a simple, quiet family is devastated. Rina and Maya D, aged just 15 and 20, were killed as their car was driven off the road and shot at by suspected Palestinian gunmen. Tensions are high in the region after 2 nights of Israeli police raids on Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque earlier this week. Ellie Pitt has this report.
Amidst the singing came the sound of grief at the funeral of two sisters. Relatives and friends gathered near Bethlehem to bury the British-Israeli girls who were shot dead on Friday. Maya and Rina D were just 20 and 15 years old. They'd moved from London to an Israeli settlement on the West Bank 9 years ago. But today, a family of 5 said goodbye to 2 of their own, and a father told tales of his daughters.
My beautiful, perfect Maya. We named you God's water, and you were so many people's friend, flowing between so many different groups. My beautiful, darling Rina. You were such a great student, such a great friend.
The sisters were killed when their car was hit by Palestinian gunfire in the Jordan Valley on Friday. Their mother, Lucy, was seriously injured in the shooting and airlifted to hospital, where she remains in a coma. The attack comes amid rising tensions in the Middle East, where recent violence has seen death on both sides of the region's divide. Among the mourners today was Israel's controversial right-wing National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. He listened as the girl's father condemned the terrorism that took his daughters.
We're united against a common enemy. We are the forces of good, fighting the forces of evil, and we will always prevail.
Later in the service, one of the girl's siblings, Karen, spoke about becoming the oldest child now.
Maya.
I'm taking now the role of the eldest child in the house. I hope I will manage to do it as good as you did, but I'm sure I will never be able to replace you. I love you and I miss you a lot, she said. Once more, children have been caught in the crosshair of conflict, and another family will carry the weight of grief for the rest of their lives. Ellie Pitt, ITV News.
Ahead of what's likely to be the most disruptive strike by NHS staff yet, relations between the government and unions have reached a new low. The Health Secretary accusing junior doctors of timing their latest walkout after the Easter period to cause maximum disruption. The union, for their part, says the government is yet to make a serious offer on pay. From Westminster, Tom Sheldrick reports.
Overwork! Underpaid! Overwork! Underpaid! For the second time in a month, thousands of junior doctors in England are set to walk out in their dispute over pay. It's not our pay, it's not too late! This latest strike action coming straight after Easter, when many NHS staff are on leave, meaning there's little cover available.
There's no doubt it's going to be a very challenging week for the NHS.
We are ensuring that over the days of industrial action, we're prioritising emergency care, maternity care, critical care, but there will undoubtedly be an impact on routine care.
The walkout is due to run from 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning until 7 o'clock on Saturday. Last time, over 3 days, 175,000 appointments and operations were cancelled. This time, over 4 days, the NHS is warning it could be up to 250,000 cancellations. And there appears to be little prospect of fresh negotiations taking place here at the Department of Health anytime soon. Writing in the Telegraph today, the Health Secretary Steve Barclay has accused the Junior Doctors Trade Union of taking a militant stance in this dispute. He said it is deeply disappointing that the British Medical Association have timed this industrial action to cause maximum disruption to both patients and other NHS staff. But the BMA say this was the first week they could strike, having not received a new pay offer from the government. Coming straight after the Easter bank holiday weekend, do you recognise this will cause even more disruption?
So strike action is in by nature designed to cause disruption, because it's to put pressure on the government to do the right thing and come to the negotiating table. We had processes set up for our 72-hour strike in March about how to do it safely, and that was through communications with high senior officials within the BMA and NHS England, and those processes will continue for our 96-hour strike.
The BMA are demanding a 35% pay rise to make up for real terms pay cuts in recent years. The Health Secretary has dismissed that as unrealistic. There's been progress in several other industrial disputes, but in this one, the opposing sides still seem a long way apart. Tom Sheldrick, ITV News.
4 people have died in an avalanche in the French Alps. 9 others were injured on the Armenset glacier southwest of Mont Blanc. Their identities haven't yet been confirmed. France's Interior Minister has visited the site of a building collapse in Marseille, where up to 10 people may still be trapped. The block of flats collapsed early this morning, causing a fire, which prevented rescuers from moving rubble. More than 100 firefighters have been working to put out the flames. And police officers investigating new allegations against serial rapist David Carrick have had more than 10 new people come forward. Hertfordshire police are looking into more allegations against the former police officer. Carrick was jailed for life in February after admitting 49 charges, including 24 counts of rape. Pope Francis prayed for the people of Ukraine in his Easter message. Tens of thousands turned out in St. Peter's Square in the Vatican City as he spoke about troubled places around the world and said that Easter illuminates the darkness. In a similar theme here, the Archbishop of Canterbury called for peace in his service. Callum Watkinson has more.
The embodiment of faith and service for millions of Catholics he may be, but he is also an 86-year-old man, still recovering from bronchitis. And the joy many felt at his appearance in St. Peter's Square was doubtless augmented this year by relief.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
A crowd of some 45,000 had gathered for the morning mass. And by the time the Pope appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, there were 100,000 here, and they heard a traditional Easter message of peace.
Help
the beloved Ukrainian people on their journey towards peace, he said. And though he spoke from a chair, his voice was clear, asking God to shed the light of Easter upon the people of Russia too. 1,000 miles away in Canterbury Cathedral, the leader of the world's Anglicans spoke also of Ukraine and other conflicts and the power of good ultimately to triumph over evil.
Cruel and oppressive rulers might look as though they only get stronger, yet they will vanish. We know that those who oppress and subjugate others will face divine justice.
And as violence flares again in the land where this faith was born, these messages of peace rang as loud today as they ever have. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
King Charles and other senior royals have attended their first Easter Sunday service at Windsor Castle since the death of the Queen. The King, Queen Consort, the Prince and Princess of Wales and their 3 children joined other members of the family at St George's Chapel. Sport now. With fallen trees and heavy rain delaying play in Augusta this weekend, Jon Rahm leads the final round of golf's Masters. After better weather today, this birdie on the 8th moved the Spaniard into a 2-shot lead over Americans Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson. Rahm is 10 under and has around 9 holes left to play. Liverpool have dealt a blow to Arsenal's bid to win the Premier League title. At one point, the league leaders looked to be cruising with a 2-goal lead, but a late Roberto Firmino goal capped off a fight back to earn Liverpool the draw. Chris Scudder was watching.
2 points lost for Arsenal and how they might now regret it. On a ground where they had a terrible record, everything looked to be turning in their favour. First, Martinelli's early goal.
Martinelli, and it's rolled into the net. It's a goal for Arsenal.
Then a second from Gabriel Jesus, 2-0 and cruising.
It's 2-0 Arsenal.
But Xhaka's altercation with Alexander-Arnold seemed to stir Liverpool. Minutes later, they pulled a goal back through Salah.
And a Salah!
Then they won a penalty, only for Salah to make a mess of it in front of the Kop.
Well.
Arsenal looked to have weathered the storm but could not see it through. Firmino made it 2-2 late on. Still, 3 points to 1 point could have been no points at all, but for a fantastic save from Ramsdale. Then a dramatic Liverpool miss in a frantic finish.
Oh my goodness me.
So Arsenal's lead at the top is 6 points, but their showdown at Man City later this month now looks more crucial than ever. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And finally, in the last few moments, Buckingham Palace has revealed details for the coronation procession to Westminster Abbey. In a break from tradition, Charles and Camilla will take the 1.3-mile outward journey known as the King's Procession in a more modern, comfortable Diamond Jubilee state coach, which has shock absorbers, heating and air conditioning. They'll only use the elaborate 260-year-old gold state coach one way on the return. The coronation service begins at 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 6th of May. There's full details on our website and the news section of ITVX. And that's it for tonight from all the team here. Good night.